Hi, a wonderful evening to each and every one of us. I want to really appreciate you for finding time to join us in today's edition of our Tim-Osa Media Weekly Talk Show. It's been an awesome time from when we started, and we're getting different feedbacks, different testimonies from people all over the world about how they have been blessed and how this show has really been of great impact to each and every one of them. So, if you're just joining us for the very first time, I would appreciate you. Let us know where you're joining from because we're looking at a very important topic this evening. Thank you very much for finding time to join us. Please just comment where you are actually joining from. Yeah, thank you for joining us this evening. Just let us know where you're joining from, and we are going to really welcome our guest specially. So this evening, as we know, we're having a very special guest this evening. We're having a very special guest. So we're going to be inviting the guest soon. But before we invite the guest this evening, we are going to actually know those that are joining us for the very first time. If today is your first time of joining us, we will want to know where you're joining from and know your own name. So we appreciate you to just kindly let us know where you are joining from. So I remain my humble self, Osayuame Timothy, the privileged CEO of Tim-Osa Media. So just let us know where you're joining from, okay? If you're joining us for the first time, let us know so that we give you a warm welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening because we've looked at different topics. We've looked at the power of preparation. We've looked at a whole lot of topics that I can't even start remembering now, but those topics, they were all great blessings to each and every one of us. Personally, I've learned, and I know you have also learned a lot from those various topics. So it's a great privilege for us to be learning from this platform. So we'll be glad to know where you're joining from. We're glad to know how far this program has been blessing you, and we'll also be glad to know how you want us to improve in this talk show. Last 2 weeks, we looked at the journey thus far, where I was meant to be interviewed by one of our board members, the person of Mr. Ijabla Papka Pius. I was meant to be interviewed on how far the journey has been, what has been the hurdles, and what has been the challenges. So Mr. Papka actually did a very nice job last week and spent time to actually discuss the way forward and how people can actually get to their own promised land. It was a topic that was really that serves as a blessing to each and every one of us, I must say. So I personally, I had to go and listen to the topic again, and I tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that topic of last week. So last 2 weeks, sorry. So last week, I have to actually apologize for last week because I went out and I had to pay a visit to the house of a famous or a great preacher, the person of John Knott. So I know I needed to have my own personal time and also have time to get my own blessings too, not just probably releasing for people, but also to get my own part of the blessing. So this evening, we are having an important guest in our midst, a very important guest. So we know that the guest is prepared. I'm very sure about that. So we know that the guest will be coming to pour from his own well of knowledge. He's a mind therapist. Man, the guest is someone I've known for years. Yeah. So and I've known him for years. I've known him for years. So it's one that I'm always proud of. Yeah, I'm always proud of him because he has been of great blessings to both me and also my platform. He has been of great encouragement. He has been there to listen to our programs. He has just been there. He has been there, and I will continue to say a very big thank you to him. So this evening, he will be coming up to speak to us. He will be coming us to let us know what does it mean to speak up. What does it mean to speak up? What are the things you're passing through? Why do you have to speak up? So that is what we shall be looking at this evening. That is what we shall be looking at this evening. So I will just quickly be waiting as we are going to bring our guest in this evening. We're waiting for the guest because he's ready and he's joining us soon. So let me know where you're joining from. Yeah, well, let me know where you're joining from. Just let us know where you are joining from this evening. I'm Timothy, joining from somewhere around the world. Somewhere around the world, yes. Somewhere around the world. I love that. I love that. So just that just a very brief introduction. Timothy journey from somewhere around the world. Yeah, somewhere around the world. Yes. Let me know where you're journeying from. Just let us know where you are journeying from. For those that have joined us, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. So we are hoping to bring people in soon, our guest in soon. So we're just waiting for our guest to join us this evening. So let me know where you are actually joining from. Let me know where you're joining from. Yeah. Where are those that are with us this evening? If you're with us, let us know. If you're with us this evening, let us know where you are joining from. Let me know where you're joining from, okay? Let me know where you're joining from. So wherever you're joining from, just type I am this, joining from this. You get it? Yeah, that's it. So let me know where you're joining from. Let me know where you're joining from. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just be silent for like 2 minutes or a minute, yeah, and I'll be right back, okay? Okay, thank you for holding on. So I just had to quickly see how to reach our guests if he's having some, I think he's having some connection issue. So he's joining us as soon as possible. So we're waiting for him to actually join us this evening because he's the major, yeah, I can say major focus of the show this evening. So, Senior Samuel, you're welcome this evening. Yeah, I can see that you're with us this evening already. So you can just drop a shout out so that we'll know you're here. Miss Samuel, if you're here, just say hi. Let's know you're here this evening. So we're waiting for our guests to join us, but within a few seconds, within a few minutes that our guests will be joining us, we will just, yeah, that's my baby girl has already joined. Yeah, that's Nasi joining from Nigeria, Anambra State. Thank you for joining us, Nasi. Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's going to I trust the show this evening that you're going to actually get a lot from it. Yeah, I'm very, very certain about that. You're going to get a lot from the show this evening. So thank you for those that have joined thus far. Yeah, just let us know if you're still just joining. Let us know where you are joining from. So I still remain your host this evening, Timothy Ihuewa, joining from a city called Glasgow here in the United Kingdom. So before we bring our guest in this evening, guest should be on the corridor here. So before we're going to bring our guest in this evening, we are going to do something briefly. If you our page, if you haven't liked our channel, so please do well to quickly do that. So our guest is with us already. Yeah, so we're just waiting for him to put on his video. Let's know that he's fully ready with us. So I guess he can hear me, but you can't hear him yet because he's still in the corridor waiting to be added to the stream. So Mr. Mattis, if you can hear me, please put on your video as I'll be adding you over to the stream just now. So you're welcome to the show this evening. I guess you can hear me very well. So thank you for joining. We're looking at the topic this evening is speak up. Speak up. This is a very important topic this evening. Yeah, this is a very, very important topic. Speak up. Why do you have to speak up? A lot of persons are passing through a lot of issues, but they don't know whom to speak to. A lot of persons, they are passing through a lot, but they don't know what to do, why they are passing through a lot. There are a lot of people you can speak to. There are a lot of people you can actually just get to speak to. Um, when you get a topic like this, you need to actually spend time and learn a lot. Yeah, you need to spend time and learn a lot. Mr. Martins, I don't know if you can hear me. Please, can you put on your video? Because I'm trying to get across, but okay. Let me. So let me see. Mr. Martins, can you hear me? Yeah, you have to put on your video so that I'll be able to add you to the stream. I think that's one of the main rule to be added to the stream. So once you put on your video, then I can add you to the stream. So thank you for finding time to join us this evening. Yes, we are just trying to wait for the guest. Yes, first of all, when you hear of the word speak up, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind when you hear of the words speak up? What comes to your mind? What comes to your mind when you hear of the word speak up? So I think this is a general question now for each and every one of us. What comes to your mind when you hear of the word speak up? You when you hear of that word speak up, what comes to your own mind? A lot of things are encapsulated in that word speak up. So what comes to your mind when you hear of that word speak up? Yes. When you hear of that word speak up, what does it mean? What message is it passing across to you? The truth is, we are in a generation where people can easily talk about others. We're in a generation where people can just wake up and they uh, just say anything they want to say about people, uh, not minding what effects it might have in the life of people. So that is the generation that we have found ourselves. So this evening, the reason why we decide to bring up a topic like this is for people to actually understand that there are a lot of issues going on, and you can't just remain in the silent mood. You can't just remain in the confine of a particular place without speaking up. You can't just remain in uh that your how will I put it now? That your uh, inner cackles. You are just there, not talking to anybody, and you're having a lot of burden within you. You're having a lot of challenge that is going on, but you don't know whom to speak to. So I think it's time for people to actually arise and get somebody to actually speak to. I think it's time for people to actually know that there is need for them to speak to someone. Never you die in silence. Never you just remain in that your confined nature without looking for somebody to actually speak to. Instead of you to die out of depression, statistics has shown that almost on a daily basis, a lot of persons die on a daily basis just in the name of depression. They are thinking, probably as a result of what to eat, as a result of where to go, as a result of whom to marry, as a result of the career to pursue, as a result of money, because of a lot of things that is going on around the world today, because of so many things so many thoughts running through their mind, people just tend to just begin to face this depression. The Bible has clearly told us that take no thought for tomorrow will take care of itself. So you don't, as much as I'm going to quote that verse of the scripture, I'll still have to tell you categorically that there is need for you to actually plan. Yeah, it's good for you to plan, but not now thinking to the extent of almost being highly depressed that you actually don't know what to do any longer. I think it's time for us to actually speak up. Look for a mind therapist. Look for somebody that can help you work on your mind, help you to go away from that depression. I know clearly of someone that though she was already feeling okay. Probably a lot of us would have heard of the story, but I wouldn't want to actually mention it because of some issues. So like you are just there. Probably what has happened to you, the mistakes of the past. You are just thinking over and over again. You are just giving yourself unnecessary thoughts. You are just being bothered unnecessarily. I'm not saying that being bothered is not important. It's very important, I must say, but you are being bothered unnecessarily. Like you just begin to think about, oh, I had this GP last week. This is a great point last week or last month or last semester. It was very low. You're thinking over and over again, and you're beginning to develop. At a very little age, you're beginning to develop high blood pressure, and you're beginning to be depressed. You are just there. You're not bringing up the best in you is not coming out just as a result of the fact that you are already being depressed. So I think it's time for us to actually rise up. It's time for us to actually do what we know it is right. It's time for us to actually begin to speak to somebody. When you are not fine, when you are having some challenges, speak to somebody. Yeah, speak to somebody. It's very, very important you do that. Look for somebody that is well reasoned. Yeah, the person that has brain. I think I was saying, well, I guess is having a serious connection issue this evening because we're trying to bring him in, but I don't know why his video is not turning on. I don't know. So I don't know how we're going to actually do this. Let's hope that um, he will join us along at the line as we're waiting for him to actually join us. I don't know what the problem is. So I'll just still see how to reach out to him so that we'll make sure we bring him on board this evening. So a lot of persons, you give yourself unnecessary thoughts just because of what is happening. You see people going to jump over, people going to jump from the bridge to I don't know, like just because depression, just because they have something that they are thinking about. Yeah, it's normal for you to think, but you don't have a right to take your life because you're thinking. People going to, I think there was a time that the rate of people buying sniper was on a high rate. People just want to kill themselves just because of the fact that they they are having some issues, just because of the fact that they're having some issues. So you don't need to kill yourself. You don't need to kill yourself at all. You don't need to kill yourself. You don't need to kill yourself. There is need for you to focus on what you are doing. Forget about what is happening currently. Forget about the challenges you're facing. Forget about the problem. It's good for you to speak up. Speak to somebody. Speak to somebody. It's very, very important you do that. Speak to somebody. Speak to somebody. Speak to somebody. It's very, very important you do that. So, as we're still waiting for our guests to join us this evening, we're already 22 minutes behind time. So, we're still waiting for our guests to join us this evening so that he will come and speak to us from his well of knowledge. I don't know why um, we're still having serious connection issue. So I'll just quickly see if I can reach him again now. So thank you for waiting here. I know our audience, they already, they've been waiting since just to hear from a highly esteemed speaker, but it's part of the challenges we face sometimes when it comes to connection issue. So we're still expecting our guests to join us this evening because yeah, Mr. Martins, can you put on your video, please?
All right.
Yes.
My apologies
Yes.
for the delay.
Yeah,
Apologies for the
we
delay.
took the whole world waiting for you.
Okay, my device, there was a way I configured my device. So I forgot that I have actually placed a kind of setting on my device. So I had to go back and do all the setting again. Good evening,
Okay.
everybody who is
Good
on the live
evening.
session.
Yes. Thank you for joining us this evening, Mr. Martins Affair.
Thank you for
Our
having me.
audience want to know you. Just briefly, just introduce yourself so that our audience will know you this evening.
Okay, my name is Martins Affair, and my surname is Okari. And I am a communicator. I am a teacher. I am a content writer, and I'm also an entrepreneur. So I do online and offline business.
So probably you forgot to add, you're also a mind therapist.
Okay. Uh, Perhaps as time goes, that one will come to play.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know.
having me.
You're welcome, sir. What is your expectation this evening from the audience, and also what will our audience be expecting to get from you this evening?
Well, I believe the topic has already been thrown open, and I think while I was trying to join the live session, I heard when you were talking about try to actually throw more light on the topic this evening, which is a speak up, I
Yeah.
guess. On a truth, what I have to say about the topic is that speaking up is hard.
Mm,
Either you are giving a live speech, either you are trying to host a program, either you are trying to even relate or communicate to friends and all that. Speaking up is very, very hard. The only time that speaking up is not hard is when you are with friends. That is, friends that you know that, oh, you can always say whatever you want to say and get away with it.
yeah, definitely.
But then, speaking up is very, very, very hard.
Okay.
So,
It's just an introduction, so you're almost giving us the whole content of today. So, Mr. Mantis,
mm,
yes, we'll go from here. We're going to look for a place to start off, and we'll look for a place to land.
of
When
course.
you hear the word speak up, what comes to your mind?
Well, speak up is, like I said, speaking up has different or various content.
Okay.
You could speak up to motivate, you could speak up to ease your stress or whatever it is one is going through. You could speak up to correct people, or perhaps even one's self. You can speak up to correct yourself.
Mm,
So you can also speak up to push an interest. An interest. Perhaps you are that person who have interest in something. You can also speak up. I remember, okay, I always like telling people
yeah, I think
telling me as a person. Okay,
I can
can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, me as a person, I'm not the type who really speak up. I am that type who deal with things on my own.
On your own, yeah.
Yes, and I have really learned a lot from it, even though it is not helpful. But we have a different approach to things. That is individual approach.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
remember the first time I wanted to go to Lagos. I arrived Lagos late at night. I think around to 12, and it was around 2007. It was my first time going to Lagos, and I arrived Lagos late. I think the vehicle dropped me at Beggar, Beggar Bridge. Those of us who lived in Lagos before, though I'm no longer living in Lagos, you will know around 2007 how dangerous Lagos was. And then I had no choice but to look for some persons to talk to, even if I was almost robbed.
Mm,
But then speaking up is also important. You could speak up for an interest. If you have an interest in something, you can speak up. You can also speak up to express an opinion. Yes, you can speak up to express an opinion, and not just that, making an ambitious ask. Like that scenario I found myself, even if I wasn't a talking type,
Type, yeah.
I don't I have to just ask because it was the middle of the night in a strange land. So there are different scenarios we could find ourselves and we have no choice than to speak up. There is more to it, but I believe you also have questions to ask. So maybe as the questions come, I will be adding more to it.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer, Mr. Martins Affair. So, you have actually dealt with the area of speak up. The word speak up or the phrase speak up is very lengthy. It encapsulates a whole lot of things. So we're going to be streamlining this to uh, the inability of people to speak up when they are depressed. So we want
Okay.
to streamline it to that area. So what do you think, or let me start with you now, Mr. Martins.
Mm.
Let me start with you. Have you ever been depressed all along? Like, have you ever been depressed? Because part
Yeah.
of this show is the ability for you to come and you speak to us openly. And part of what we are discussing today should is speak up. So I'll be asking you some personal questions that you need to answer us, and also that will help others to learn. Have you ever been depressed?
Yes, I have been depressed a lot of times.
Okay.
I have been depressed. At a very young age, I can't remember, but I think I should be within 15, between 13, 15. I was depressed to an extent where I have to say, I think I made an utterance. And I never knew my grandmother was listening
Mm,
or was close to me. I said, is it not better for one to just die than to stay in this life and keep on suffering?
mm.
And then I never knew my grandmother heard me. And then she said, what? What could have led you to make that statement?
Such utterance, yeah.
And she was not asking
I hope this network will not disturb the program for this evening. The program is already growing and it's getting hot now.
yellow,
Yeah, can you hear me now?
yellow.
Yeah, I can hear you.
And then she started asking, what could have led you to make such a statement? Is it hunger? She immediately went and make a very hot, uh, what can I call it now? I can't remember the name of that food. Amala, very hot one
For you to digest
for me to eat.
the depression.
So, and that was even at a young age. And then a whole lot of time, we actually experience depression, and the topic depression is so large. But the question was, if I have experienced depression at all in my life, that was my first time. That was the first time I experienced what is called depression. And then a whole lot of time I also experienced depression. When I also, I think when I started, I traveled to Lagos and I started living in Lagos. Oh my God, I experienced tons of depression,
Hmm.
tons and tons of depression. And immediately after my school, 2018, I also experienced depression because the expectation of every graduate now after school.
Yeah, to get a good job, to get a
Yes,
wife.
and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, to me, I thought I was lucky enough. Immediately I finished my school, I actually alerted my friends in Lagos, and fortunately, I managed to gain a job. And I was very happy. So, I think the following year, I started that job January, and as I started, the end of the month, no payment.
Hmm.
Second month, no payment. I had to stop. At that moment, some other things came up, and to be honest, I was so depressed. So depressed. There was a day, I think same period, I was actually lying down the whole of the day. And then my friend came and said, is this how you are going to be lying down all day? Let's go out and eat. I wasn't sick. I stood up, made advance to go out with him, and it seems as if my eye turned or my head was turning upside down. And I was using my hands to look for where to hold.
You have to just hold yourself, yeah.
Yes, that is depression. I was not telling my friend. I wasn't sick. Oh, he was scared when that happened. That is depression. And I even have to leave Lagos. And it's a long story anyway, but I
So
have
are there
experienced.
sorry, Mr. Martins, have there been a time where you became depressed as a result of probably a lady or anything related to that?
Um, to that, can I really say yes? Okay, yes,
Yeah, because
exactly.
it has actually happened to me, so that's why I'm asking you. Probably
I
so
think
many
I
other
think
persons can also learn
you are
from it.
correct. Yes, I quickly had to search my mind to see a lot of time. But you see, the reason why it's difficult for me to actually talk about that is because I myself I have been so hard-hearted, hard. I mean, how will I say it now?
Hard-hearted,
Thank you. Hard, hard-hearted.
hearted, yeah.
Yes, yes. As a man, there are a lot of things you have to subject yourself to in order to survive.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah.
Yes. People will see a smile in a man's face and then they will classify it into a lot of things. Oh, after all, he's enjoying. After all, he's happy. Reasonable people will say, oh, he's joyous. He's living a good life and all that. It's fine. That is the happiness of every man. But there is
Absolutely.
a lot to it. There is a lot to it. To some persons like me, it comes to a time where giving up is not even an option. Giving up is not an option. Can you imagine at a young age I was thinking of dying? So I experienced it a lot of time. You mentioned something related to women, if I have tried to give up. Yes,
Yes.
there was, yes, the first time I've actually wanted to be serious with a lady. Yes, that was, I won't mention the year anyway.
so, so that I will not
Because
get the person. Okay,
yes,
continue.
I and this man we know ourselves so well, so that is why I won't mention the year. So that was the first time I tried to be serious with a lady. She was actually serious with me too, but
Okay,
I my seriousness.
I think I have idea about that.
That is by the way. So, but my seriousness was high and more. Why? Because I had plans, future plans,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and of which she actually had it too, but she was skeptic. She was skeptic, and I wasn't skeptic because I have actually had experience, and at that point in time, I have come to a conclusion that henceforth I'm going to be serious. So it wasn't as if like what we usually known as heartbreak. No,
Mm.
no, it wasn't a heartbreak. It was when I realized that one person is more serious than the other, which I I was the one who is more serious than the other. So I had to let go of her. And it was a tough decision to make.
To make, yeah.
It was a very tough one. I made that decision and I was depressed for a very, in fact, I was depressed to a point that I had to tell close friends, people that I know that I can confide on.
I think I was part of those you told them.
Okay, thank God. So, and as a very strong man that I am, sometimes I use preferences. That is, I may even use another person as an example, whereas I am the very person in the
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
So that is it. I have actually experienced that.
So,
And
looking at these various scenarios you have given us now, how were you able to manage that period and you were able to come out of them? Because if you were not able to actually come out of them, I don't think you'll be here today sharing your story. So how were you able to manage these various depression period and you were able to come out of them?
okay, I will also relate it to um, knowledge, readings, good books.
Okay.
Before I even gain admission to school, I have read two important books from John Manson.
Mm.
Is it Martin now or Martian?
Martin, yeah.
Okay, so two important books, and those books were part of my life, were like a moving train to my own person. So at that point, I have already know that life is not as easy as we
As we think.
think.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes we have to fight it and earn it. Life is not a bed of roses.
Roses, yeah.
So that time, I think I also listened to a very, very good sermon from a very well-known man of God. I was a part of that ministry at that moment, which is Pastor E.A. Adeboye. Yes, yes, yes,
was
yes.
that was when you were still grounded in the things of the Lord.
Still, I am. But the reason why I said then was because I was a part and parcel. I was a worker.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that was when I knew you. So it was that fire that brought us closer.
oh, okay, okay. Thank you for that. So, and the sermon, which actually kept me going, was just a phrase of words, which is, he said that when the devil comes to you with a razor blade, it means your destiny is as small and tiny as that of a razor blade.
Mm,
And when the devil comes to you with a knife, that is the size of your destiny. When the devil comes to you with a double barrel, with AK-47, with machine guns, with bulldozers, then that is the size and quality of your destiny. So after I've known all this, nothing, nothing. But you see, in order to not deny myself being a human, sometimes, it has been long I cried anyway. They say men don't cry, but sometimes men cry. It's only the
absolutely.
tears. The tears is not always physical.
You cry
Men cry.
inside.
So those words kept me going, knowing that there is a great destiny ahead of me. So that's that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So I think you just tried generalizing the answer now. You
Mm.
didn't tell us probably the part that maybe the food your grandmother gave to you helped you to salvage that depression period, or when you were heartbroken, or when you have this issue, probably as a result of uh, uh, the high expectation from you or from the lady. What later happened? Did you just build up your courage, or you just okay? I think that you said something like you spoke to somebody or you spoke to people about it.
Yes, I spoke to
Okay.
people.
Yeah,
and
yes.
that of my grandmother's food. Like I said, I was still a kid, and okay, let me come out plain. I am from a polygamous family. Yes, a polygamous family, and as at that moment, my reasoning faculty was so high, even as a kid,
Yeah.
was so high. There are a lot of expectations that are not forthcoming. So at that moment, I was so helpless. Although maybe hunger was part of it anyway. But then it's not as if the food solved the problem, but I just use that word to actually, it's just like a conclusion
Yeah,
to a lot
definitely.
of things, a lot of things that was going through the mind then. So the food actually helped to an extent,
To salvage the
to
whole situation.
help me to forget. So it's also part of the solution to depression, and I believe we are coming to that.
Okay.
Yes, sometimes we have different level of depression.
Pressure.
We have different level of depression. I'm sorry, but I know you can hear me.
Yeah, definitely we can. You can hear you.
Yes, we have different level of depression. I think I have some things here. We have major depressive disorder. Yes, major depressive disorder. This one could be clinical depression, and this major depressive disorder sometimes could last up to 2 weeks.
Mm.
Yes, it could last up to 2 weeks. It interfere with everyday life. Your mood changes, your
Mood swing.
feelings, you feel sad, and you lack energy. Sometimes you just lack energy to eat. You don't feel like. Even when nobody tells you anything, and you feel that you will feel excited. No. So that is major depression. Major depression. Then we have another one what they call bipolar depression. And this bipolar depression is a period of low mood,
Mm.
low feelings. Yes, you don't feel like talking to anyone. You just say, "Oh, let me
Anybody. Yeah.
stay alone."
I think
Sometimes
seen cases
some
like that.
persons, yes, some persons even tend to switch. Some persons switch off their phone and say, "Oh, let me stay." Even me, there was a time like that.
That
Account.
they just feel to be alone.
Yes, deleted my Facebook account. I said, no, this social media of a thing, I don't even want for the now. In fact, I now thought of it. Even if you don't want, people will still come. They will comment. They will send you message. I said, okay, what's the best thing to do now? Let me deactivate my Facebook account. And the deactivating Facebook account, Facebook will give you some days to see if you will change your mind. If you change your mind, they will reactivate the account. It wasn't even up to, I actually wanted to go off. I think I was just able to go offline for 24 hours. I tried now. So the next one here is postpartum or perinatal depression. This postpartum perinatal depression is when women are pregnant or when it is close to when they want to give birth. They start malfunctioning.
So,
Anyway, any man or women who have actually passed through that um, experience will understand this postpartum depression during pregnancy events, and all birth, and having one perhaps during the period they want to give birth. Then we have the persistent depression. persistent depression. This one can last up to 2 years. Yes. Persistent depression,
Persistence.
yes, persistent. You will feel good today, tomorrow you will not feel good. Nobody could tell what is wrong with you. Sometimes people will even be scared to talk to you.
Mm.
Yes, yes. So this one can last up to 2 years. And we have a premenstrual disorder and psychiatric disorder, seasonal affect disorder. So, or depression rather, depression. So all these ones are types of depression. And like it or not, some of us or almost all of us fall into one of these category.
Definitely.
If no one, we will definitely fall into the one they call seasonal effect depression. Yes. There are times you don't even feel like talking. Yes.
Yeah,
Don't feel
are
like
you sure
talking.
that that works for those that are sanguine in nature?
Oh, exactly. 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 I think um, you got it right, but that word um, what did you call it? Is it Sagwin?
Sanguine, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Seasonal. And there are effect of depression. There are effects to it.
Okay.
Sometimes emotional effect and worried. Worried about what? Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah,
Not
emotionally imbalanced.
enjoying, yes, not enjoying things that you used to. Not enjoying things that one used to can be another effect. Being easily irritated and frustrated. Yes, that is another effect of depression. And eating too much or too little.
Is what?
Sometimes when people are depressed, do you know that they eat too much?
Well, I think I don't know, because you
Yes,
can see the way you can see the way I'm
whatever,
yawning. You can see the way I'm yawning anyhow now
yes,
on this
whatever comes
program.
sometimes. When people are depressed, whatever comes, they eat. That is
Because
sometimes.
I
And
actually
to some
ate
persons, when they are
excessively
depressed,
today.
they don't eat.
Hmm.
You ate excessively today.
I ate. I went to visit somebody and the person gave me different varieties, so I ate well. I ate well.
Hmm. You didn't reject anyone.
No, I ordered for more.
Ah, okay. Do you have any reason for ordering for more?
I just, when you go to a place where you feel very comfortable and you haven't eaten such food for a long while, so you just want to keep ordering for more. So I kept eating and eating and eating until I think for the very first time since I left my mother's house, I
Hmm.
ate to satisfaction.
That is it. Anyway, it may not because you are depressed.
Okay,
You
but
must have
that's
had
just
other
confirm.
reasons.
Okay, that,
Eh,
that might be as a result of hunger.
perhaps, perhaps. Uh, but another thing is change of sleeping mood. Sometimes when people are depressed, they are unable to sleep very well. You may just sleep 2 hours and they are done
Hmm.
and all that. So depression
I,
can also
I
affect
think that
your sleeping
that
mood.
has happened to me before. Yeah,
Okay.
because there was a time in my uh, former, like, when you're just having some unnecessary thoughts, and
Hmm.
there's this, okay, where I was working before,
Hmm.
I was told that I was to write a particular exam just to proceed to the next stage on the particular date. So I was actually prepared for that exam, like I was prepared, but I wasn't having this full confidence that, okay, um, I'm going to actually go through this. So I started thinking. I thought till the extent that I saw myself being depressed just because
mm,
I've been thinking all day. So when it was time for me to sleep, I discovered that once I close my eyes and start sleeping like this, is bye bye to poverty. I slept not up to an hour or two. I was awake, and I tried sleeping again. The sleep did not come. That's why I opened my eyes to the next morning, and I went to the exam hall and wrote the exam. The rest is history.
lo and behold, you overcome.
All to the glory of God.
Thank God for that. So having difficult time concentrating and remembering things is also as a result of
Depression.
depression. Is an effect of depression. That one happens to me a lot. There are sometimes when I was in school, I can read all through. In fact, I can prepare for an. On the truth, there was no exam that I don't prepare for.
We can prepare for.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I can, we can we can
You
we
can tell
can
the
talk
story.
about our early days
Hmm.
where
So
Martins can literally be reading and writing on a Fusca sheet. He keeps writing and writing and writing just because he wants to try. I think I can actually remember all those good old days.
sometimes there was a time that an exam that I I overrated.
Mm,
Yes, overrated in the sense that there was nothing to me, there was nothing to read anymore. I have assumed the exam to be simple, and truly, many said the exam was simple. But on that day, when I got into the hall, I had a blank memory.
mm.
A blank memory.
Could that be caused by depression?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me share my own experience about the same thing you said. I don't know if you can remember, but I know it happened during my ND days, where those that know me well, they know that okay, this guy once he enters the examination hall, he doesn't speak to anybody. Like even
Mm,
though I'm sitting with my best friend, I wouldn't want to say anything until the exams end. So that was just a personal rule that I decided to build up, and God actually helped me to an extent. So uh, when we're writing one of our exams, then French precisely, not the
mm.
French one, the second French,
Okay,
you
French
know,
too, yeah.
yeah, our duty was just to, yes, I think some of our boss are already coming up to actually talk about this issue of depression. Yeah. So when we're writing that particular exam, how we normally read to write that exam, then it's just for us to, is la cram la pour. Just go there,
Yes,
cram the
exactly.
whole thing, go to the examination hall, go and pour it out, and go and sleep.
No,
And it's as if,
French is a crammed exam.
yeah, so it's as if you have
In
never
fact,
read
it is a crammed course. You
anything.
just have to cram it.
And go and point. So actually, that particular exam, I've gone to cram, I've crammed it. I got to the examination hall. A lady came to me and was like, Tim, I heard you don't tell anybody anything when you are writing exam. I said, yeah, I don't do that. It's my personal resolution and all that. So the lady just told me, was like, Tim, let's see how you're going to write this exam. And immediately gave me the answer sheet and the question paper. My head suddenly went blank. Like I could
Yes.
not remember one thing I read again.
Mm.
I was thinking actually it was a joke. I wouldn't say I was depressed because there was literally nothing I was thinking about apart from my own personal examination or something that I know is coming up. So I wasn't actually thinking about anything, but I discovered that literally I could not remember anything. So, but that was like a kind of a spiritual attack, which I was able to overcome by just speaking a word of prayer, just bow down my head to say, God, this is me and you in this examination hall, and somebody trying to tempt me in this exam hall. lo and behold, God actually helped. I was able to answer like 2 or 3 questions I can remember vividly. So I wouldn't call that depression per se. So I would just see it as there are also like some spiritual angles attached to something like that.
Yes, yes. But before we think of spiritual angle, we should think of depression. Perhaps most of us wouldn't know about depression. And we can easily channel it to spiritual angle, although we cannot neglect the spiritual angle of it.
So can you please, before you continue, Mr. Martins, can you
Yeah.
respond to this question of Mr. Senior Samuel? Because this
Okay.
question is very, very important. I actually had this question in my mind. Thank God he just asked the question. Can you really respond to it?
Okay. Putting this into consideration, my leader, how does reading of books help in solving depression when at that moment your mind is affected?
Yeah, because
Okay.
when you are depressed, it affects both your mind, affects your
Mm,
spirit, affects your body. So trying to now read book at that time, how does it really help in solving depression?
okay. That is exactly, it's a very good question. You
Yes,
see,
yes, I understand. The question is very, very good.
but you see, before I respond directly, I
Okay.
will also want to say something. During that period when we were in school,
Yeah.
we don't actually have a choice but to read
Mm.
and read. There are sometimes we come to school with the mindset of reading, but nature will not allow. Nature will
When,
just take
when,
its place.
when you say nature, what do you mean?
It could sleep could come, and there are some other things I may not be able to mention.
I think Senior Samuel will be able to explain that.
Okay. Yes. But you see, the school system in our country doesn't allow you to rewrite any exam.
Yeah.
Once you miss an exam, you fail it. Either you lost your mother, you lost your father, you lost your relative. Even if you 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 even if one lost his or her life or about to, it doesn't give room. You understand that better, isn't it?
Definitely.
So you saying, okay, the question is, how can one read a book? Sorry, let me see the question.
Yeah, Mr.
Putting this into
Martins.
consideration, my leader, how does reading of books help in solving depression when at that moment your mind is affected?
Mr.
Isn't it?
Martin, can you
Yes.
please hold on? Let me
Okay.
buttress this question so that you
Okay.
can answer it very well. During
All right.
my master's program, something actually happened. I I was about writing my master's thesis when, like, over here in the UK, if there's
Yeah.
anything they don't play with, they don't want to hear that you are depressed for any reason.
Okay.
So, like, as at that time, I had tuition fee to pay. I had some things I was just thinking about. So I emailed my supervisor has already requested for my proposal, my chapter one and all that. So I just emailed him and I was like, I would have been able to do this, but currently I'm not in a good state of mind. I am somehow depressed. So I can't work on this now. Can you imagine my supervisor gave me time till I am ready to start my dissertation or my thesis? He told me, he said, Tim, when you are ready, you let me know. For close to 2 good months, I did not touch my dissertation. Actually,
Mm.
not that I was depressed to the extent that I can't move, but I just needed to at least do some works, pay my part of my tuition and all that. So for that period of time, I was able to help myself in trying to see how I can solve some of this issue, that this issue of depression will not take over my body, spirit, and soul. So when I eventually told my supervisor that, okay, I am now ready to begin my dissertation, do you know what this man did? He said, Tim, uh, let me know when you'll be free. I want us to go out for just a lunch. And I said, okay, that's fine. We booked a time, booked a place, and we got there. Like, this is my previous supervisor. We got there.
Yeah.
He asked me to sit down. I sat down. Tim, what do you need? I told him. He went to order for it. He went to carry it from the the restaurants, like the reception
Okay.
there. He went to carry it, brought it to my table, kept, like, he's a professor.
Mm.
So he
Very
sat,
humble.
we started discussing my dissertation. And it was
Mm.
like, he started asking me questions, what led to me trying to work on a topic like this. And I started asking him, we're talking. He got to the one point was, okay, I can now see that you are really ready to start your dissertation.
Okay.
And do you know
It,
what
it
the
works.
man,
It works on your mind.
yes, he has come to test my mind if this guy is actually ready to start up
Yeah.
something. So you can see that if it were to be back home in Nigeria, tell a lecturer that you are not ready mentally to start up your dissertation, automatically you have failed it.
He will tell you boldly that you are preparing for failure.
So
Okay.
that is why when Simeon Samuel said, how
Mm.
does when the fact that depression affects both the mind, the spirit, and
Mm.
everything, how do you read your books when when you were talking, like when I asked you a question at first, when you were like, part of how you were able to overcome the depression stuff, you read some books. So
Okay.
how, when you are depressed, how do you manage to read books when you are depressed to overcome it? That is what Simeon Samuel is actually saying.
Well, a direct answer to that question is, I think I've actually said, our
Yeah,
system.
Mr. Martin, there are a lot of questions for you to answer here. So please, because questions are already popping up. We have another one here. So once you are done with this,
No
other ones are
problem.
still here. So just
Uh, Quickly, our educational system doesn't permit us to actually leave any stone unturned
mm,
while writing or preparing for exams.
mm,
Either you are depressed, like it or not, you have to prepare for an exam inevitably. Inevitably. So that is the educational system, and there is nothing you can do about it. A whole lot of times, Mr. Simeon Samuel, a whole lot of times, we have actually taken Nescafe while we were in school. Nescafe in order for sleep not to come, so we can read. And sometimes we can wake up at the middle of the night to ask ourselves questions of what we have read. And at the time we had a group, and those group actually helped a lot.
a lot.
There
Yeah,
were there were times that many of us may experience depression in either remembering, or in either trying to recollect instead of them going back to the book to read. What they do is they will just wait for question times. While we are asking question, some persons will try to pick up from what they have read in the past. So that moment, if you have a group you read with, you probably just wait for the question time and then you ask question. That is how you get through exam. So it's about the educational system. Inevitably, I think a lot of times while we were writing exam in our ND, even in the HND that time, some persons they fainted in the examination
the
hall.
examination hall, definitely. Yeah,
They took them out. Most of them failed the exams.
they
While
will
some
never give
persons,
them the opportunity of writing it again. They failed
Ehen,
it.
that is it. That is it. While some of them were compensated with coursework. So they just round it up for them and then. So I think that is the answer for that question. Which other question again? Does
He said,
frustration
"Does frustration
lead
leads to depression? If
to
yes, what are the
depression?
chances?" Also, is there any difference between frustration and depression? This question has a very thin line. So this question has to be answered critically. You know, when scholars are asking questions, you will understand these are scholars actually asking questions.
Don't worry, you will get an answer to it. You can throw another one, Mr. Samuel. Yes, there is difference between frustration and depression. Of course, depression has stages, while could frustration is the absence of solution to depression. Yes,
Frustration
depression
is the absence of solution to depression.
to yes,
So which
depression.
is if you are depressed and there is no
Yes,
solution to your depression,
there
it
is
leads
no
to frustration.
frustration.
Kudos.
Yes, yes. So depression, you can seek medical attention. You can actually choose to do what you like, what you have passion for in order to come out of depression. You can even talk to a counselor. You can even talk to a counselor to come out of depression. You can talk to friends. You can even relate your issue to somebody who is close to you. You can go for therapist. But frustration, you can hardly seek medical attention or medical care for it. You can, in fact, frustration is the next thing to death. Yes. So there is a bit different between frustration and depression. And frustration, to come out of it, I think frustration, to come out of frustration, one will need spiritual intervention.
Like to meet a pastor.
It's part of it. Yes. Yes. Spiritual intervention. You can also, I don't think frustration, yes, you can also seek help because, um, let me speak pidgin English now. They say, I, where they cry, see they see.
The Sirodo.
Frustration have a root. So if you are still able to recognize and trace the root, then you can seek for help. A lot of things frustrate people, which is inability to get help, or when they get rejected. When you have tried and you got rejected, you can be frustrated. Like me, I, there was a time I was a job seeker or job hunter. I hunted for jobs. I believe both of you know the story, Samuel and Timothy. You know the story. I traveled all the way from here to Akwa Ibom for a job.
Yeah, I remember those period. Yeah.
Twice I was rejected. But you see, I had to fall back to those motivational words like the one I started with when I talked about the devil and the knife and AK-47 and all that. So, in the end, I had to actually say, oh, if God had wanted me to get those jobs, I would have gotten those jobs. It wasn't as if I wasn't qualified. I don't just know where the problem came from. Even people that I underrated, not underrated anyway, but at least I knew that I I will have
A better chance.
a better chance than them. The God accepted and I wasn't. So I it's a large topic anyway. But I think we can move to the next phase.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Martins, for
Mm.
how you have been dealing with some of these questions. So here come a question from me to you now. Looking at this I can use the word menace called depression, which is actually ravaging the whole world. How do you think? Okay, I will just bring in some example. Somebody waking up in the morning, you think the person is fine. The next thing you hear in the evening is the person has gone to jump into a lagoon. Somebody waking up in the morning, there were times that statistics showed that I think sometime last year or last 2 years, there was an increase in the sales of sniper. An
Yes.
increase, yes. And I think up to the extent I think government had to ban it or so over there in
Yes.
Nigeria. So, what do you think actually could be an antidote to some of this depression? People, ladies going into prostitution as a result of the. A lady has actually told me, Timothy, when I was trying to speak to the lady so that she can change and all that, she told me, said, Timothy, the reason why I went into prostitution is or becoming a hawker or a sex worker is because I have been depressed. So that is the only work I can do for me to leave depression. And some person will also tell you, if I want to leave depression, I have to go and drink alcohol. If I want to leave depression, I have to go and smoke. Are all those things actually an antidote? You want to leave a particular thing, you go and smoke Indian hemp for like some period of time, and you forget about your sorrow. After you have gotten yourself back, you are still falling back to that sorrow. So are they actually an antidote to or solution to depression, or they are just temporary, or they are not just the if they are not just the antidote, what do you think are actually the antidotes to depression?
Smoking is also as a result of depression. Is not the inability to take to smoking and drinking that result to depression, but depression is what could lead to smoking and
And drinking.
yes. Because let's start from the family background. For instance, um if a man got a married man in a family, you got home at any point in time, and then your wife or the man's wife started ranging and saying all manner of things. Maybe perhaps an average family, let's even say that. Then women can talk.
Absolutely.
So so and the man started hearing all manner of things not pleasing to his ears. And this kind of a man, knowing that if at all he needs to go to his friend's house uninvited, he may not be able to spend time in order to digest or in order to forget everything that he has been told or the names he has been called at home by his wife. But when you have a friend who can easily go out and enjoy life with, or perhaps he can even call his friend, let's go to so so place. What are they going there to do? Definitely, it's enjoyment, isn't it?
Definitely.
So there are many ways which this enjoyment has been linked to. It is either you womanize, it is either you smoke, it is either you drink. All these things are symptoms of depression, but it's not the absence of depression. It is depression. Can you imagine a man waking up? My father, I knew my father to be a smoker. So one day when I was in school and I wasn't even having support from my parents due to some reasons. I had a if okay, to cut it short, I wasn't having support from my parents, and then my mom was the only person I was talking with that time because I had issue with my dad. So Okay, before the issue, it was this very report that led to the issue. So my mom would call me and say, your dad, if you see the way he was drunk today and all that. So one day I sat down and I was thinking, this man had children and none of his child is smoking. None of his child is drinking. Then this man should be grateful for that and change from this attitude. So even while I was in school, wasn't getting support, I
Yeah.
took up the phone and then I called him. I spoke to him and asked him, have you ever, by coincidence, by any means, or think, even imagine that any of your son could take up a cigarette and smoke one day? He said no. How about drinking? He said no. Then why can't you change? Why can't you change? I spoke to him in anger, even for the fact that I wasn't getting support from them.
From here.
So I now told him, look, I'm trying to focus in school. I'm trying to also see how I can meet up with things. Support is not coming from you, but instead it is report. So I fought with him and stopped talking. I think that was
Okay, I think we're having some network issues there with our guest for tonight. So we're still here. Okay, are you back? Okay.
so those scenarios that I pointed out could lead to depression, a whole lot of depression. And there are also many things that can lead to depression. Perhaps you have a close friend who traveled, can lead to depression, or loss of a loved one
Loved ones, yeah.
can lead to depression. And also, um, uh, there are a lot of things: drug abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, home abuse. All these things can lead to depression. Low self-esteem can also lead to depression. All these stages I have passed through it. I've passed through it. Thank God for the books that I have read that actually helped me. It's not as if I seek personal help, but books I read and then I was able to overcome. Even there was a time, I think, when I took to teaching. I started teaching and then it was very difficult, mostly when they asked me to come and lead the assembly grant. Wow. If it is my class, I know how I can handle them and then spend the time I have to teach and leave. But assembly grant, wow. Mostly upon. I wasn't told before, I wasn't informed. They would just point me and say, okay, come and lead this. Oh, I will feel like I should disappear. So a whole lot of things can lead to depression. But then there is also, we can seek solution to depression, we can seek medical help, we can choose to do what we love most, we can talk to someone, we can seek counseling, and there is also, we can seek for medical intervention and also personality. People who have gone through depression before and how they cope and how they got out of it. We can also seek all those things in order to come out of
Yeah.
this
Okay.
dynamic.
Mr. Martins. Yeah,
Yes.
our time is actually fast spent. So, um, Can you please just quickly respond to the question of Mr. Simeon Samuel? He said, aside from the educational system, how can one who is under depression read a book to solve it out when the mind is down?
It's
He's
not
trying to
possible.
focus more on the question he asked before.
Okay, this is it. Depression is not something that could take the whole of your your time. It's just something that comes and go with the help of medical intervention and all that. So it's not about somebody who is having depression, how can the person reach and all that, except it is something that you are not familiar with. It's just that I am feeling depressed, and you now ask me now to define social study. Sorry, you now ask me, I'm feeling depressed, and you now ask me to define news. There is no way I cannot define news now. Is it possible that I cannot define news?
Yeah, when you are depressed, sometimes who knows, anything can happen.
No, no, the mind doesn't work that way, except if the
I
brain,
think Senior Samuel is actually ready for you this evening.
yes, yes. So definitely, when you are depressed, nothing comes to mind. Perhaps the mind would actually be absent, like total absent. Nothing may actually come to mind at that moment. At that moment, but it's just like losing consciousness. When you regain your consciousness, definitely you should be able to stop from where um where you stop, except there is a one of those categories of depression that I mentioned. There is also one that can lead to bipolar. I don't know if you are familiar with bipolar. It's a disease that one could lead to,
Bipolar disease, yeah.
yes, that one could lead to dementia. That is when one had to lose his or her memory. So if it leads to that, of course, somebody who has lost his or her memory is already into another world. So, except it is that type of depression. But whichever way, depression is just like a stage. Once you come out of it, then you can you can one everybody can live their life. Another one, you talk about drug abuse as one of the causes of depression. Can you please throw more light on this? Yes, yes, drug abuse. People who do drug abuse doesn't just wake up one day and take to drug abuse. Something must have led to drug abuse. When you want to find out the root cause of drug abuse, is actually negligence. Negligence, parental negligence, and influence as well. Influence as well. It could be influence from friends or relatives, sometimes from parents themselves. So imagine a child who is in school without any proper guidance, even with proper guidance, now see some of his or her friend taking, doing some certain things. Of course, let's even start from the basic one. You now see your friends every break time in school, they play football. Of course, we like to play football too, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And except for few parents who doesn't advise. But no parent should stop a child from playing football. So it's the same thing. As soon as you can mingle with friends to play football, it means it is easy for a child to mingle in doing other things except for proper guidance. Yes, home counseling and outside home counseling can actually help that. So it is easy for a child or anybody to be influenced. To be influenced. My pastor said one time when he was trying to teach us on a topic, I can't remember the title of that topic, and he said something that if me, Martins, come to tell him today that there is a girl in this church that I liked, that I want to marry, and all that, he will believe me. That if by tomorrow I now try to write to, he said he will believe me too. Why? Because people can change according to environment.
Absolutely.
Yes, environment affects a lot. So when talking about drug abuse is something that is it can be easily it can easily influence people. Mostly people who lack decisiveness, decisiveness. People who are not who cannot make decision easily on their own can easily fall prey to all these things, drug abuse and all that. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time this evening. But before you go, do you still have any other thing that you want to talk about when it comes to depression and when it comes to people speaking up?
Yes, I have something that I would love to talk about
Okay.
on speaking up. Yes, there is no passion to be found playing small,
Mm,
settling for a life that settling for a life than the one you are capable of living. Speaking up, even if it is against your will, you just have to speak up. There are several occasions that people don't speak of. Me, for example, I would always like to go and digest something before I speak. Yes, that is it. Then we have some persons, when they speak, they give a lot of excuses. The habit we need to do away with when we need to speak up or while speaking up. There are some habits we need to do away with. Speaking ill of someone who is not present,
mm,
you need to do away with such attitude. Yes, some persons like gossiping. Yes. So if one is a gossiper, even when you want to speak what troubles you, people will just take it as a gossip.
absolutely.
Yes, so that is why sometimes you don't need to speak ill of people when they are not present. Be bold to talk to them. If they are doing wrong, talk to them. It is left for them to take it or not. And judging, judging people by trying to ridicule or pull them down is also a bad way of speaking up. It's a very bad way of speaking up. Then negativity. Some persons doesn't have anything positive to speak on, but negative is a very bad way of speaking up, a very bad way. Then some persons also give excuses, like I used to. In my under 20s, so many topics that usually comes up, I will blame my parent. They are the one who didn't train me to school. They are the one who caused this. Until I realized that no, everybody have to take their destiny into their hands. Until I realized that there are some persons who actually funded their education from secondary school.
From scratch, yeah.
Yes, I even have friends like that. Not until I have to think backward. But you have friends like this. Why then are you do you continue blaming your I stopped.
Mm,
Stopped. Not just that, there are not so many. There is one particular incident that came up and I messed up. I realized that it was because I was hard-hearted and all that. So I decided to change. There is no excuse for anybody to give up on his or her dream. Then we have some attitude which we need to imbibe in ourselves when it comes to speaking up. And
Mm-hmm.
I call it hail. That is HAIL. The H is honesty. Honesty, clear and straightforward. Be honest, be clear, and be straightforward.
Straightforward.
Yes, yes. Then the A there is authenticity. Be authenticity and be authenticity while speaking for yourself. So when you want to speak, you speak authentically. Then the third one here is integrity. Yes, when you want to speak, speak with integrity, not somebody that is double-mouthed. No. Speak here, they ask you, what did you say? You say, no, it's not. No. Have some integrity while you speak. While the last one, which is L, is love. Love, which, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Why is love? Wish them love. Wish everybody love. Yes. Wish everybody. It's not a kind of erotic love. It also means wish everybody well. Yes.
Yeah.
Wish everybody well. Yes. In whatsoever people find themselves, and you have to develop positive energy towards yourself, towards others. Mostly you have to focus on whatever it is that you are doing on yourself in order to come out positively, because it is everybody like celebrating positivity. Nobody will ever celebrate
Negativity.
negativity. That's a
Okay, thank you very much for finding time to join us this evening, Mr. Martins Okare Afe. It's been a wonderful evening with you. I think my brother, Senior Samuel, you have actually been doing a very nice job this evening because you have followed up this topic from the beginning. Yeah, Martins, I think he has, I don't know if it's another question, looking at the concept of drug abuse, which is using of drugs to contradict the doctor prescriptions. Putting this in mind, you will find out that people who abuse drugs are always doing that just for their pleasure, and depression does not occur when you are in the right feelings. So how does abusers involve in depression? Okay, Mr. Martins, did you get that?
yes.
Okay.
Well, I think he just I think he just figured a point out, which is very okay. We may not be able to pinpoint every aspect, but very vital and important. Yes, taking to drugs, unprescribed drugs. Um, well, I didn't even think it this way anyway. But inability, there are some persons that actually took to take some drugs that are not prescribed in order to just, um, how will I even call it now? I don't really know how to put it. In order to just come out of depression. Depression. Yes. Because some persons, it is only when they are depressed that they remember, oh, there is a drug like this somewhere. Can you imagine somebody who is busy, working hard? Will such a person even think of
Never.
drug abuse? It is only when you are depressed and you took to drug abuse or taking drugs that are not prescribed, that is when you become addicted. And then it becomes a part of a life, and it can even lead to dementia and all that. So, Mr. Samuel, I hope this question I've been able to answer it. And if not, you can give us an answer if you have one.
Okay, yeah, our time is already fast spent. We spent about an hour and 40 minutes dealing with this particular topic, uh, this is just pick up part one. We're going to be looking at the second, third, fourth part, if I'm not mistaken, because we're going to be looking at it. We will look at it from the area of depression. We're also going to be looking at it. There are a lot of areas we didn't cover
Of
when it
course.
comes to depression, because there are some
Yes.
people that a lot of ladies they are depressed, and they have locked up themselves in just one corner, probably because of the fact
Yes.
that they were raped, or yeah, that's
Home
another
abuse,
challenge
home
again.
abuse is there.
Yeah,
Home
yeah,
abuse is there.
uh,
Sexual abuse is there.
yeah.
Child abuse is there. So there are a lot of angle to this depression. So
So this is just a few of the angles that we have actually looked at. So we are going to be having part two, three, and somebody like Senior Samuel needs to also come to this studio to come and tell us what he actually also know when it comes to the issue of depression. So, Mr. Martins, you have done absolutely well this evening, and you have actually helped us to open our eyes to what depression is, and how we can help to curb this menace cause depression. But because of our time, we just have to wrap it up here this evening. We have actually spent a lot of time. Some of us were already dozing off because we need to wake up early again tomorrow morning and prepare for another week that is ahead of us. So, but for now, sorry.
yes, before you wrap it up,
Okay.
the worst form of depression that can happen to any man, any human, is financial depression. Yes, financial depression. You know, I have passed through all the phases of depression. Yes, and even financial depression, and of which I am still passing through because I have not been able to meet my expectation financially.
But to an extent, you have been able to settle some
Yes,
things.
yes. Mostly for those of us who are still in Nigeria, thank God this young man has been able to elope, leaving us behind here. So we that are in Nigeria, we are facing a lot of financial depression. But me as a person, I'm always grateful that I find a way to cheat financial depression. How? I was introduced to a firm, an investment firm, and that when I was introduced to it, I didn't even take it because I knew of MMM, I knew of a lot of Ponzi scheme until my colleagues started making wave with it. And then I said, okay, in fact, the way this naira and dollar of it is going, let me just invest. And I was glad. So I decided to come out of financial depression when I joined this company called Omega Pro. So I invested a little of my token in naira, and I earn in a dollar. So the worst form of depression that can happen to anybody is financial depression. So if you are having any financial challenge or going through any financial depression, it is better for you to invest and earn in dollar instead of living your naira where it is and devalued. So I advise you, I encourage you and to actually look out for Omega Pro. You can search for it www.omegapro.world, WORLD, omegapro.world, and you can get more details on what Omega Pro is all about. And if you want to know more, you can also reach out to me through this Timothy. You can get my
Yeah,
details and then reach out to me.
you can just search for Martins Affair on Facebook. Martins, then AFE. Search for him. You can contact him personally, or you can contact me, and I tell you I'm going to drop his number with you right there. So I wouldn't want to drop his number on air here because he's a fine boy, and I don't want people calling him unnecessarily for things that are not.
Please,
People
I want
might
people
just
to
feel,
call
people
me.
might just feel we want to discuss Omega Pro with him, and it's not Omega Pro. They want to pro the Omega, so that is why I wouldn't want to give out his number on air.
Give my number, let them call me.
Uh,
Anyway, that's by
no,
the way.
no,
Don't worry. No, don't give
Madam will
it.
not allow that.
Don't
So
give it.
uh,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Martins Affe, for your time, and also thank you for thanks to Madam for also releasing you for us this evening so that we can spend time to actually discuss on this show. So hopefully we hope to have you again for another session of this show to help us deal with another area of depression. It is very, very important, and it is very, very paramount at this time.
Before
So
we go, you need to clarify something. Thanks to Madam. Who is Madam? No, no, no. Who is Madam? Who is Madam? Who is the Madam? Please, don't
we,
sell me
we,
cheap.
we for the viewers, I guess if you don't want to be biased, if you have been listening to this program since, you can see the moves, you can see the noise at the background, you will understand that there is something going on within that environment and
Okay,
within that environment.
that is not true. I'm all alone. And the reason why the background is a bit dark is because I'm in Nigeria. And
Absolutely,
that
we
young
know,
man.
we know
So
you are in
there's
Nigeria.
no I have to manifest this light in order for my face to show. So there is no second party here, neither a third party, and that has been cleared. The only time you heard of a noise was a phone that rang. Okay, the phone that rang actually, and it wasn't
Mr.
even
Martin,
my
I don't know
phone.
why I don't know why you are explaining this evening.
I have to explain because you are trying to sell me cheap. I'm not cheap.
Oh yeah. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. I've always got.
Uh-huh.
It's very costly. It's very costly.
Better for you.
So we hope to see you again next time, same social media handle. But if you have not subscribed, please do well to subscribe to our various social media handle at Tim-Osa Media, and I tell you, you will not regret any of those things. So for now, we just want to say bye bye and have a wonderful